Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was earlier. And what a crazy day it was today is with the weather. You know, it's one of those days. Is it going to rain? No, it's not going to rain. Is it going to be sunny? I don't know. But it ended up being a beautiful day anyway, and so I am, no matter what, I'm grateful, and there's nothing I can do about the weather. So I hope you're getting out in nature somewhere like Starlight was. And also, if you are new to my YouTube channel, you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you can give my videos a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight by leaving Starlight a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you can also share my videos with your family, your friends. Oh, yes. What was that animal? I heard that today. I was like, what in the world? I'm in my car and I heard a rooster call. So what does it mean when you hear a rooster make their sound? What does that mean? So, and not only a rooster, I'm going to just say some chickens to go with the rooster. And also, let me see, besides sharing my videos, you can check out my playlist. Plus, if you have any animals, Starlight would love to see them and put them on her YouTube channel. So if you have any pets, not your husband or your wife or your children. No, not those kind of pets. What kind of name do you have for your husband or wife? No, don't tell Starlight. We'll keep that hush hush here. You know, Starlight. I know there's no children on this YouTube channel, but there might be. Who knows? So anyway, yeah, you could send any pictures of your pets. And you can do that on my Instagram, and that is at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. And I think the window, that's funny, I think the door is wide open. Everybody keeps on looking in here, so Starlight is going to be right back. Oopsie. So the door doesn't shut. So anyway, this video is for everyone here. So anyway, I love you so much, and I was wondering why people were looking at me and laughing outside the window. And so anyway, I love you so much, and like I said, you can send those pictures of your pets on my Instagram, and that's 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. And also, if anyone would love to send some love Starlight's way, I would really appreciate that. And you can on my Cash App, and I will have that information on my YouTube video. So anyone that would like to help out by sending any donations, like I said, Starlight would really appreciate it, and God will bless you for doing so. And also, let's see, thank you to all of you who are there loving and supporting Starlight, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you all the people that love and support Starlight by giving me thumbs up or sharing my videos or subscribing to my videos or giving me thumbs up. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you. So today's video for tonight's topic is do people misunderstand you? Maybe you're misunderstood. So that's what this title today, the topic for tonight's video is, are you misunderstood? Is it that, you know, people don't always get you, you know, where you feel like you're judged, and, you know who you are, and, you know, people kind of get hurt by you and you didn't do nothing. You're like, I didn't do nothing. But there's many times that we all can fall in that category of misunderstanding people or being misunderstood. So this video is to help you to understand what to do if you misunderstood someone, because how many times has this happened to Starlight? How many times has Starlight said to someone, you know, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, there was a miscommunication going on, and the best thing to do is, if you really don't know, don't believe everything that your mind wants to tell you, and that is so important. We can really make enemies with our closest friends or family members by, letting our mind, which are your thoughts are not your own. So you got to be careful, is that, just because you have a thought in your mind, it doesn't mean it's your own. And that could really trip us up in so many different angles in our reality with people that we love, even at work, at church, our family, our loved ones, a friend, our husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, our kids, So the best thing to do is understand that all of us can be going through some stuff in our life, and, we could be going through a rat race, being so busy and not slowing down. And a lot of times what we need to do is to slow down and not to really think that everyone's after us, not with your thoughts and, what you think, what people are thinking about you, because there's many times it could be your imagination, and understand that your thoughts are not your own. So if you get like a thought from somebody, you might be, why are they treating me like this? Can you really 100% prove what it is that you think they did? That is a lot of times we think we are like a private investigator, and that we got all the answers and we solved the case. And guess what? You know what? You could be wrong. You could be 100% wrong on thinking that somebody thought a certain thing about you. And it's really about really loving yourself enough and not letting, it doesn't even matter what other people think about who you are. And so you got to love yourself enough and have that confidence in yourself to say, you know what? I don't care what anybody else. You got to really know yourself and know your worth, instead of worried about what other people might think about you. Is, the other day, Starlight, and this is not why Starlight's making this video, but, I had people that were kind of on the rude side, being sarcastic. You know what? I don't need to entertain that. We don't always have to have a comeback, even if somebody is out there being rude or whatever, and understand that a lot of people are going through a lot of shit. It has nothing to do with you. It has really all to do with them. So don't let other people ruin your day. You got to know your worth. You got to know that, hey, you know what? I love myself. Not everyone is going to love you and accept you for who you are. And just like food, today Starlight was going to get food, and you know what? Not everybody likes strawberries. Not everybody likes pineapples. So don't let your emotions get the best of you, or your imagination get the best of you, because you might think that, somebody has a problem with you. And so you got to let that go, and you got to understand that your thoughts are not your own. And like I said, you've got to love yourself enough that you're not going to let, even if somebody said something to you and you can prove it because they said it, but you got to love yourself enough to say, you know what? I'm going to let that go. I'm going to release that. I know who I am, and they could be wrong at what they said. So you got to really look at that and say, are they always right? Did they make, a correct judgment on who you are? And you're like, no, what they thought was they are the ones that have a problem. It could have nothing to do with you. There's people that, they get offended easily, and Starlight has definitely been there. I'm like, you hurt my feelings. You didn't send me a message. I thought you were gonna send me a message, but you never did. So, we got to be careful with that, is that, we have high expectations of other people, and other people can have high expectations over you. So you got to be careful of what, stop having expectations of what you think somebody's going to do or say. There's times, this has happened in my life where when I used to have my own cleaning business, I did work that I wasn't even supposed to be doing. And, I did stuff in their house that the person that hired me, they didn't tell me to do that stuff, but Starlight loves organizing things and straightening things up. So there's a lot of times I was doing extra work without getting paid for it. And when they came home, I have to say I was guilty of thinking, oh, I can't wait until they notice this, and that they say, wow, Starlight, you did an amazing job. But, there's times that I didn't hear anything. They didn't say nothing to me. So you got to understand there's people that are so busy and they got all their own problems. They got a plate and it's full. They're waking up in the morning. If they have a family, forget it. They got all kinds of stuff that they're dealing with, with the kids, the husband, the wife, the dog, the cat. I don't know what other animals they have, making sure, going through the checklist every morning, to go to, drop the kids off, go to work. And then they got all the tasks that, to remember to do all that. And, dealing with coworkers and bosses and, now you got to deal with the kids. Now, the meal. So there's a lot people are going through. So don't ever take it to heart of, when people might say something or they might ignore you. They might not send you a message when you're like, what did I do? I didn't even do nothing wrong. Sometimes, people get offended because you could say something and you might have not even been talking to them. But they automatically think that, Starlight, I can't believe you said that. And no, I wasn't saying that to you. That was not for you. So we got to be careful of how we take things from others. And this happens, to all of us at some point where we easily get offended. And you got to know your worth. You got to know who you are. And you got to be strong when those things happen and understand not everybody is after you. Not everybody is got some kind of grudge against you. Not everybody is ignoring you. You got to understand that they got their problems and they got stuff that they're dealing with just like you. So stop having such high expectations of other people, thinking that people are going to send you a message. Have you ever done that? Is waiting for somebody, you send them a message. And this is what I had a hard time with on dating sites, is being on a dating site and you're sending messages. You send a message to them, then they send a message to you. You send a message back, and then they send a message to you. Then you send a message back, and you're like, okay, where's that message? I said something, and now I'm waiting for them to respond back to what I just said, and it's silence. They disappeared. And doesn't that kind of make your whole night, especially if you never hear anything, you're like, what did I do? Well, you never know. They could have had some kind of emergency in their family. They might have had to go to the bathroom. Anything could have happened in that time frame. So stop expecting, having those expectations about other people, and realize that they got their own life and they got stuff that they're dealing with. Is just to really get to know who you are as far as a person, and don't have those expectations. And if you think that somebody is upset with you or they don't want to be your friend, you got to find a way of communicate with them and talk to them. Communication is the key in any relationship, no matter what kind of relationship that you have out in this world. Is you got to communicate with them and let them know is, hey, how come you're ignoring me? How come you didn't return your my call? And they, what? There's times people get tired or they go and they eat and they forget. They got a lot of stuff going on in their head and they forgot to get back to you. But isn't it easy to take it to the heart and feel like, the really bad emotions that can happen through those testing times. So don't let that stuff get to you. As you got to have that, that having those expectations, thinking, hey, they got to send me a message back, and I'll tell you what, it feels so good. Starlight does not really text, and I really don't get phone calls. So a lot of the pressure is off of me. So the more you have people in your life that call you or text you, the more of that kind of stuff goes on. So that was one of my indicators as far as going on dating apps. If that was happening with me with the same man every time I went, I'd be like, hey, there's times that they have a BRB, you let a person know, like, hey, I'll be right back. So, we really need to think about other people and be responsible in those ways, and communicate fully to people, so then we don't bring up problems and we don't stir up things that really there's not a problem. And I've been guilty on both, mainly misunderstanding people, but we can be misunderstood. So you got to communicate. If there's something that you feel is off, you're like, hey, I just got a great message from you the other day, but now I got this other message. And now first you think, oh, that's a great message that you gave me. And, then you receive another message where you're like, how could you do that? How, you just sent me a beautiful message yesterday, and now you're, sending me this message. What? What did I do to you? So, and I have to say, this happened to Starlight for real. Have you ever done this on your phone? And it is so embarrassing when this happens. You're sending a message to somebody, and this really happened to Starlight. I was traveling to my son, and I pulled over. I wasn't texting while driving, so please, if you're a person that texts while driving, please, it only takes a few minutes. Starlight knows this. It only takes a few minutes to pull off the side of the road, find a safe place to park, not where you're going to get people in a car accident, but pull over on the side of the road and text that person, and then you can get back on the road, But I did. I pulled over, and I told my son, I said, I'm getting warmer, and I was just letting him know, hey, it was a long drive to get to my son's house. And then I let him know, hey, I love you. And then I left, sent that message out. And then I got back in the car. And then on this trip, there's parts of the ways it was pouring rain, and that's another reason why I ended up pulling off, because it was too risky for me to drive. It wasn't worth, I was getting closer to my son's house, like an hour away. But I did the right thing by getting off the road instead of possibly creating an accident because it was a downpour of rain and a lot of rain on the roads, and Starlight's tires are all no tread on them, so that is dangerous. But I did. I pulled off the road, and I sent my son another message. And so this time I'm like, I'm getting hotter, just like playing hide go seek, like you're hiding something and you're letting somebody know, hey, you're getting hotter, to finding that thing that you hid. And I did that with my grandson for his birthday, which Starlight celebrated before his birthday. Is I hid his gift in the house. And he wanted me to hide it. He's like, hide the gift. And I'm like, okay, we'll have fun. We'll hide the gift. So Starlight hid his gift into the washer machine, the dishwasher machine, because I didn't think the refrigerator would be a good spot, because I didn't know if it was going to ruin what I bought him, with refrigeration temperatures. So as he was in the house, I would let him know, oh, you're cold, you're freezing. And he was getting hotter and hotter. So that is why I was letting my son, I was being funny with him, letting him know, hey, I'm getting hotter. And then I said, I love you, and I sent that message. Well, little did I know, and I didn't know anything about it because I was driving. And then I ended up pulling off the side of the road again because I had to use the bathroom, and I noticed that I had messages, and I wanted to make sure with my son that he knew I was getting hotter. That meant I was getting closer to his house. And the weird, funny thing is that I accidentally sent that to my daughter's father. So that was kind of weird, is that stuff can happen, Sometimes we get the wires crossed, we could, and this is what happens with a lot of relationships, whether it's family or friends or loved ones, like a husband and wife, boyfriend or girlfriend. Sometimes the wires do get crossed. You send the wrong message to the wrong person, and then you get this one person really excited and happy, and you're like, oh no, that message was not for you, because it is kind of funny. That person sent me this little teddy bear throwing hearts at me, and I'm like, oh no, that message was not for you. So yeah, so the best thing to do is really communicate with people and say, hey, are you upset with me? Instead of letting it fill up your headspace and getting all upset and getting all stressed out, is take some time out and just connect with that person however you do, and say, hey, the last time I wrote you a message, you sent me a beautiful message, and then sometimes the wires do get crossed, and the last time I got a message from you, that you sent me back, you're acting like you don't want me as a friend, and I want to be your friend. And so be careful of that, because you can end up losing people in your life because getting those wires crossed. So really be cautious of that with any kind of relationship. And I don't know how many times I have reached out to somebody, through my phone and saying, communication, that's the key. You got to communicate instead of letting it pile up and getting all stressed out over that person, and making, now you're creating this really horrible scenario, about that person. And then it gets worse, as you look at it, and you're like, why are they treating me like this? And then you can't sleep. So you got to really take the time to communicate with those ones out there and say, I received a message on my phone and I don't understand. Can you please tell me what this is about? That way you can clear that. And so anyway, I do love you. And even if you do get messages from somebody and they are clear, it's okay. There's times, what? You got to let go of people who don't love and support you. If you got people that are giving you a hard time and you didn't do nothing wrong, and they don't want you as company anymore, they don't want to associate with you anymore, you got to let it go. Um, if they were really the ones that are meant to be they will in your life, they are the ones that are going to resonate back to you. But let them go. Don't chase those people. But you always want to make sure you communicate with them and clear the air. And you always want to end things off peacefully with people. We don't have to be rude or sarcastic with anything. Is just say, you know what? It is what it is, and let it go and forgive them and send love their way. Don't hate them. Don't wish them evil. Is just say, you know what? It is what it is. I just got to let you go. But if there's other people out there that wants to be your friend, and the wires got crossed somewhere or another, you got to understand communication is key. So don't always think the worst out of people. Is understand that people they got their own shit in their own life that's going on. And so don't take it to the heart, and understand you got to love yourself enough to stand up for who you are and know who the right people are for your life. And like I said earlier, there's times that we do have to let people go. You might not be resonating with them anymore. You might be growing where they're not. And it is really wise for you to be around people that are going to lift you up instead of pulling you down. I love you so much. This is Starlight. You could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below, beep, 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 and you can share this video with your family, your friends. An owl? Who? An owl. And besides an owl, I'm going to say a blue jay, because that's the bird I heard this morning. What does it mean when you hear a blue jay? Wonder what does it mean? And let me see. Also, you can check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all. Don't take this to the heart. Let it go. and pray for them. Bless, you just communicate is the best key. And then there's, like I said, there's sometimes we do have to let people go. You're the one that's going to have to figure that out, but don't ever put yourself down because of other people that can't accept you for who you are. I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and